If we need to get scrappy, we can get scrappy too.
He says he's scrappy. I think to myself, man, I fed my family on violence.
I'd appreciate if you kept my name out your mouth. That's what I'd say.
That escalated at warp speed. Tua, you're such a nice young man. And Ryan Clark, you're Ryan Clark. 50% of this equation isn't what I expected, and yet here we are, and I know a lot of you are kind of confused because all off season we've been hearing positive reports about Tua and his conditioning. Just look at the guys on Fins Hub.
This dude looks like he could go. He's been squatting like an oak tree or something like that. I was taken aback. I was like, oh, Tua.
I mean, look at that. That's just pure unadulterated joy on that angelic cherubic, kind of disturbingly a little too much like my face. Why are Fins fans all of a sudden ready to murder Ryan Clark? And why did Ryan Clark kind of apologize? Let's take you through it. All off season, Tua Tagovailoa, aside from working out several times a day with his personal trainer, was also working out with a judo trainer. Judo on Fridays, just so that he can figure out how to fall properly without concussing his brain on a bi-weekly basis. So that's why Dolphins fans were a little bit besides themselves with rage when they saw Ryan Clark having a good time laughing about what Tua may have done with his offseason this year.
I'm gonna tell you what he wasn't doing. He wasn't in the gym. I bet you that.
Come on,
he wasn't with me. He might have spent a lot of time at the tattoo parlor. He was not at the dinner table eating what the nutritionist had advised.
Oh my!
He looks happy.
All right. He does look happy usually. He's a pretty laid-back guy, Tua Tagovailoa is. It's funny because Ryan Clark was there with the pivot with Fred Taylor and Channing Crowder to do a couple interviews at training camp when the Dolphins were in Houston. And, Ryan Clark and those two guys and I were all sitting watching practice from the same spot. And I thought that Tua, when he was here, looked like a thick little dude by quarterback standards. He's 6'1". He's thicker than your average quarterback, but I never thought that he looked chubby or out of weight. I just thought he looked stockier than the average quarterback. So I saw where Ryan was coming from. I didn't quite think to describe Tua like this.
Okay, he is thick.
He thick.
Yeah, he's built like girls work at Onyx in Atlanta right now on the bottom.
So Onyx is a gentleman's club in Atlanta. You guys can Google. You're on YouTube. You know how to Google, whatever. To make a distinction between Ryan just messing around and having fun and, his role as an ESPN analyst, he was insinuating or just flat out saying that Tua didn't work out in the offseason. So I don't think comparing him to the stripper was nearly as offensive to Tua as perhaps the implication that he wasn't working out this offseason.
He had some criticism about you, saying that you didn't hit the gym in the offseason, you didn't follow nutritionist advice.
Yeah.
If he were here, what would you say to him?
I mean, he probably knows more about me than I know about myself. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Ryan's been out the league for some time, so I don't know. It's a little weird when other people are talking about other people when they're not that person. So I don't know, it's just a little weird. I come back. I like my background is like I come from a Samoan family. Like respect is everything, but it does get to a point where, hey, little easy on that, buddy, because I think we're pretty tough-minded people, and if we need to get scrappy, we can get scrappy too. Just saying.
There's so much to unpack there, and you could see Tua trying to restrain himself. So starting from the beginning, he said, Ryan probably knows me better than I know myself. I don't know if he was hinting there a little bit that, like, hey, maybe Ryan's a little bit obsessed with me, and that's weird. I don't know. He also said he's been out of the league for a while, so I don't know if he was making a dig at Ryan's perhaps being over the hill or maybe not physically ready to keep up with Tua if they had to. And the really interesting one, which if I put myself in Ryan Clark's shoes, I think I would interpret this as a specific type of shade. Just listen to this real quick.
I don't know. It's a little weird when other people are talking about other people when they're not that person. So,
okay, a little weird when people are talking about people and they're not that person. I think that might be something that Ryan addresses as he's trying to deliver an apology, but has to slip one thing in. You'll see in a little bit. But what is he saying? Ryan ain't about it? I don't know if he's saying that Ryan ain't about it, but it felt like he might have been saying Ryan ain't about it because he's not that guy. I don't know. But I like this version of Tua. So then after addressing that one question, Tua was asked, how hard did he work this offseason?
I think we all worked hard throughout the offseason. And I'm not someone to talk about myself the entire time, but I mean, it takes a lot. You think I wanted to build all this muscle? Like, nah, to some extent, like I wanted to, I wanted to be a little lighter. There's a mixture of things that people don't understand, that people don't know about, that are talked about, that go behind the scenes. So, I'd appreciate if you kept my name out your mouth. That's what I'd say.
I like the whoa at the end there. That was good. That's some hometown media right there. As far as him not wanting to gain all that muscle, look, I've played with a lot of Samoan guys that had the actual problem of if they lift their lower body too hard, their legs get too big. It's an awesome problem to have unless you're trying to stay svelte and sleek as an athlete. And Tua, as you referenced, being from a Samoan family earlier, I think probably has a little bit of that issue. Like he could get real big real fast if he really tried to. So if he's working out a bunch, he's got to be careful not to get too big. Tua's personal trainer, for one, did not take kindly to this. He tweeted out, very strange preference in exotic dancers, Ryan Clark. I, for one, do not enjoy them looking like elite football players. Ryan Clark says, well, Nick, as a person that has heard that joke about himself based on his glutes a ton of times, I was having some fun. Tua's certainly thick in his glutes and lower extremities. Also, like a ton of quarterbacks, not particularly lean. I was having some fun because, hell, it's TV. He could have added in, I played with Ben Roethlisberger. Look at that doughy dude. As someone who played 13 years and is trained like you, many elite performers, all pros and pro bowlers, I get locker room jokes. It's one that's been told many times, but I'm all for sensitivity too. God bless, passive aggressively. This is the thing, though. It wasn't really a dig at Tua's body type. It was a dig at Tua's work ethic. And I could understand why somebody would get offended when somebody he doesn't know, you don't know me. It's a little bit of that. I could see where he would get PO'd. Now, nobody from Tua's camp was claiming that Ryan should get canceled or anything. I should point that out. I think he was just bowing up a little bit at the implication that he wasn't a hard worker. I get it. I think I would too. I got a big butt. I loved my big butt. It made me lots of money having a big old butt. But if you implied that somehow I got that big butt because I was lazy, I would have gotten pissed off about it. Joke all about me sitting on a puppy and suffocating it or something, but don't imply that I didn't suffocate that puppy with my work ethic. But the Dolphins army mounted up, like this from Joe Robbie. This level of hate from Ryan Clark is unbelievable. Tua does nothing but keep his head down and work his tail off the entire offseason to get his body right. How dare ESPN for the constant hate? Y'all don't even hide it anymore. I had a bunch of that Saharan dust coming over the Atlantic to South Florida. They got super sensitive. So Ryan, sensing the storm that was brewing, took to Twitter to apologize.
Yesterday, Tua Tagovailoa had to answer questions about something I said on Monday, something that I truly just felt like was a joke to me. That I've realized as the week has gone on, if this man has to answer questions about it, if so many Miami Dolphins fans are offended by it, then people ain't taking it as a joke. So let me be very clear. If I've offended you, Tua, if I've hurt you, if I've disrespected you, if anybody that supports and loves you feels some sort of way because of what I said, I truly apologize. I had two priorities when I started this job. Number one, respect the players and the executives and the coaches that make this game run.
Number two, make fun of big booties.
Number two, it was earn the respect of those very same people, and more importantly, keep it. Anything contrary to that, then I gotta check myself. Now, don't get me wrong, my ego was involved.
This is where it gets good. He was on the path to a good apology, but then he had to point this part out.
I was asked about how he felt about these comments, and he said, "Keep my name out your mouth." Yeah, my first thought is, or what? Or he says he's scrappy. I think to myself, man, I fed my family on violence. I ain't tripping on that. But that's the pride that doesn't enable me to see what this dude's going through. the constant criticisms, the constant scrutiny, constantly being questioned, feeling the stress of always having to prove yourself just to show people you can be available. And then you work throughout the entire offseason, which I talked to his trainer and said that man was in there 3 times a day to build himself up to be healthy. And you got to hear a comment like this. So I get it. I get it because I do want to respect Tua Tagovailoa. I get it because I want his respect too. So to the Miami Dolphins, to head coach Mike McDaniel, who I have a ton of respect for, but most of all, to Tua Tagovailoa and his family, I deeply apologize. I've reached out. I hope to talk to you soon, brother. But just know, I wasn't questioning the way you work. I wasn't questioning how much it mattered to you. It was what I can consider now a bad joke. But for me, it's been a lesson. I'll be better. Thank you.
I like Ryan Clark a lot, and honestly, I really enjoy his commentary. I think he's the right blend of intelligence and savagery. It's one that I would have aspired to. I disagree with him here in saying that it was just a joke, like locker room humor, because the platform is he's on ESPN, and he was questioning, maybe like accusing Tua of having a bad work ethic, of being lazy, of not eating properly. I mean, he is now that commentator who's capable of pissing players off, given if he abuses his platform. So I did grade it a 6.5 out of 10. So better than average on apologies. The low-key threat of retaliatory violence, and also a little more explanation. Benjamin Franklin once said, never ruin an apology with an explanation. I felt like if he had made that apology about 47 seconds long, it could have been a very heartfelt apology. But all's well that ends well. We've got trades to think about. Everybody will be fine. And I added one extra point to Ryan for having the name of the podcast on his shirt as he was giving the apology. Self-promotion never hurt anybody. Speaking of which, please like, subscribe. I'm Seth Payne, played 10 years in the NFL, and I do YouTube now, and I also have a sports radio show in Houston. It's awesome.
I am not built, let's say, model-esque, right? I don't know what happened at the bottom of me, man. But you tall.
He built like a woman in a low back.
You got 2 drumsticks right here.
Hey, Doug.